Welcome to Reddit Storytime. Today we're going to see a post on r/confessions. Let's get into it. My ex-wife committed suicide on Monday, and I still haven't told my kids, but I will on Saturday. My ex and I divorced 6 years ago. It was an ugly divorce. Our sons are now 9 and 13. We live 2 miles apart, and we get the kids 1 week on, 1 week off. After the divorce, we had no real meaningful relationship other than talking about the kids, scheduling, and stuff. I had no idea or interest in her personal life, and she was the same with me. Last year, she started acting strange. She started being more chatty and friendly with me. I wasn't interested in having a social relationship with her. On Monday, I picked up the kids from school for my week with them, and she texted me around 8 p.m., saying how I was the only person who she trusted 100% with the kids, and I was a great dad, and she thanked me for it. Then she told me to tell the boys that she loved them. That was weird, because she would call my eldest to say goodnight every night that they were with me, but didn't on that night. I drove by her place on my way to work and noticed her car was still parked on the street, but assumed she was working from home or sick. I had texted her in the morning about picking up my son's school book that he left at her house, and hours had passed with no reply. That was very strange, because she would reply within minutes if it had something to do with the kids. I started to grow a bit worried and called her. Again, I know nothing about her social life, so it wasn't like I could call her friends because I didn't know any of them, and her parents lived out of state. I left a voicemail telling her that if she didn't call or text back by 2 p.m., then I was going to her house to make sure she was okay. I left work early and went to her house. There were packages at her door, which was another red flag. She would never leave packages unattended outside. I called, texted, and knocked at the door, and there was no response. I let myself in and called out for her. I went into her bedroom and saw the body with a large blood stain on her shirt and something that looked like a phone in her hand. That wasn't a phone. It was a gun, and she had shot herself in the heart. Called the cops, and they questioned me for 3 hours and told me they would reach out to her parents as I was no longer next of kin. I had to pick my kids up and kept a stone face as I was still processing the situation. On Wednesday, my eldest started complaining that his mom wasn't replying to his text messages and demanded that I take him to her house, which was still all taped up. He thinks she's ignoring his texts or that her phone is broken and wants to tell her to fix it. I asked to speak with his principal in private and told him that he would be missing school next week. He asked what in the world could be so important that he should miss a week of school. I told him his mom just committed suicide the other day, and I haven't told him yet. Her mom has been calling me constantly asking to speak to the boys, but I told her I haven't told them yet because things have been moving too quickly. My eldest is picking up that something has happened, and now the 9-year-old is picking up vibes too. My 13-year-old is demanding that we go to his mom's and even threatened to ditch school if I didn't do it. My 9-year-old wouldn't let me drop him off at school and had a meltdown. I decided to tell them what happened Saturday because I'm not prepared to deal with the madness coming my way. My 13-year-old will lose his shit. Our next confession is about someone who lied about being Jewish for more than 20 years. I lied to everyone in my life for 20 years that I'm Jewish. I'm not Jewish, not even a little bit. If you ask me any questions about Judaism, I couldn't tell you, but still everyone thinks I'm Jewish. It all started in high school, 11th grade. I just moved from California to the South, and it was a rough time. I was called every horrible name in the book because I talked different and got the shit beat out of me multiple times. Well, I slowly befriended some of the guys on the football team, and my closest friend was the center. We'll call him Greg. Now, Greg is a super chill guy compared to everyone around him, but he's still very, very racist and very open about his opinions. Well, one day I'm driving Greg and a few other football players home from school, and he makes a comment about synagogues. Without even thinking, I mentioned that I've been to one, and this is where it all started. This prompted one of the other guys to joke that I was a Jew. And trying to be chill, since these were the only friends I had, I went, "Ha, yep, I'm Jewish." And then that's when it all went downhill. Greg told everyone on the football team how his new friend from California was a Jew, and they all believed it since most of them thought there were only Jews in California anyways, and the football players spread that to the rest of the school. At this point, I still thought it was a joke, and everyone was just jokingly calling me Jewish, so I just kept going with it. Then I became known as the Jewish kid, and started to actually become popular since everyone wanted to be friends with the different kid, and the fact that my dad had money. A lot compared to the poor area I went to school, so I could afford to buy nice things, and people tend to be attracted towards that. And so, being Jewish almost became my identity. It became who I was. So whenever someone would ask me my religion, I just automatically told them I was Jewish. Fast forward to the end of high school, and the counselors are walking people through scholarship stuff, and my counselor calls me into his office and hands me a slip for a $5,000 Jewish American scholarship. Now, as soon as I read Jewish American scholarship, I was going to walk out and throw it out, but he made me sit down and fill it out with him, and then took it from me to submit it. I felt horrible for even doing it, but somewhat relieved when I heard they only gave it to people who were also ethnically Jewish, so I knew I wouldn't get it. I got it. I received a letter in the mail saying I was chosen as the winner of this $5,000 scholarship. I got accepted to Dartmouth due to the fact that I worked my ass off in high school and was the valedictorian, though my competition wasn't plentiful to say the least. But I never thought I'd be able to afford it. But this scholarship was huge in helping me towards that. I considered spilling everything then, declining the scholarship, telling almost every single form I filled out saying that I'm not actually Jewish. I decided to tell my dad and ask him for advice, as he's always been a guy that I can talk to about anything whatsoever. So I tell him everything. I tell him about the joke, then the lie, then everything, and now the scholarship, which I hadn't told any of my family about because 1, I never thought I'd get it, and 2, they'd question why a very not Jewish person is getting a Jewish American scholarship. And as soon as I told my father, he looked me dead in the eyes with the most serious, disappointed face, and then burst into tears laughing. The way he reacted, it must have been the funniest thing he'd ever heard in his life. He told me he'd gotten a letter in the mail asking if I was ethnically Jewish for a scholarship I had entered, and being the person he is, he just saw the chance for college money and went, "Yep, Jewish." And that was apparently all they need. So my dad convinced me to keep the money and go to my dream college. And I did. As soon as I arrived at the university, I was met with some people from the group that gave me this scholarship, some Jewish American organization funded by wealthy Israelis, and they told me / enlisted me into all these Jewish clubs, and they got me set up in a synagogue, and I met everyone there. I'd later learn 2 of these people there would be my professors, who were very Jewish. And finally, they told me they'd set me up with the whole birthright thing, where they fly American Jews out to Israel. I was so shocked. I was at my dream school, plus I was being hit with all of this. It was too much. I thought about coming clean a lot of times, but I feel like all the people around me would suddenly feel betrayed and leave me. I became good friends with a lot of people in these Jewish clubs. I bonded with my teachers a lot better since they believed I was Jewish. I met the most beautiful Jewish girl, who I met through her mother when she came up to me in a cafe, asked if I was Jewish. Since I was with the local rabbi, I said yes, and she told me that I'd love her daughter. We went on a date and instantly hit it off. And I got a free trip to Israel. All the while, I was dealing with severe depression since I felt horrible every second of every day, in addition to the already enormous amounts of stress university puts on you. I came so close, so many times, to just throw myself off a bridge or tall building, but I could never bring myself to do it. I managed to get all the way through 11 years of college to get my doctorate, got a job at a history museum back on the West Coast, married that Jewish girl, had a Jewish wedding with her entire family and my 2 parents. My dad had spilled the beans to my mom about 2 days after I told him. She also found it equally as funny. We've had 3 little Jewish babies. The museum put me in charge of organizing and creating a huge Holocaust / Jewish American history exhibit, even though that's not my specific field even in the slightest. And in a few months, when the current curator dies at the age of 96, I'll be hopefully taking his place. He's been training me for the job. I've worked there the longest, and I've made sure that I'm damn good at my job. My life has turned out great, but deep down it will always haunt me that my entire life is built on a lie. My kids' lives, my life, my wife's life, all came from a joke in a car 20 years ago. I was never going to tell a soul this, but today my oldest son, he's 9, told me that he doesn't think he believes in God, and I told him I agreed. It was the first time in 20 years that I told the truth about my religion, and didn't lie. My son wants to tell his mom that he doesn't want to continue being Jewish, and I might use this as my way of getting it out as well. I told him we'd tell her tomorrow at dinner, and he seems almost as excited as I am, but equally as nervous. Wish us luck, I guess. I'm still unsure if I should tell her the whole truth, or if I should just leave it with, I no longer want to be Jewish. TLDR, a friend from 20 years ago made a joke about me being a Jew since I moved there from California. This turned into everyone in my life thinking I'm Jewish, causing me to meet a Jewish girl, get a free trip to Israel, getting to go to my dream school, everything. But it's all built on a lie, and I feel horrible about it every single day. Telling my wife tomorrow that I'm not Jewish. but I'm still unsure if I should tell her everything. Edit. Just for clarification, because people have been questioning my use of the word university in place of college. Yes, I know they're not the same thing. I've been surrounded by British people lately, and they all use university, so I've been saying that instead of college. It's a recently adopted habit, but I can assure you I'm American. Born in Folsom, California, moving to Orange County, and then to Santa Clarita, California, where I lived for most of my younger life until my family moved to Americus, Georgia. I can assure you I'm definitely American, and as for my wife not finding out from my side of the family, it's mainly due to the fact that we don't talk to my side of the family for personal reasons, and I haven't talked to them in years, and she's only ever met them once at the wedding, but she also wants nothing to do with them. I've decided I'm just going to tell her I'm not Jewish. I won't tell her I've lied about being Jewish for all these years, but I'm just going to tell her that I'm not Jewish. Someone also said that since both sides of my family are Czech, there's a good chance I am Jewish, so I'm thinking of doing a DNA test soon. Also, when I said I know nothing about Judaism, that was an extreme exaggeration. I've obviously picked up a lot of knowledge over the years, and I think my wife may have an idea due to the fact whenever a Jewish holiday is coming up, she'll remind me about it and tell me when it is / what it is, for if I didn't already know. I'll update later tonight on how it goes. Edit 2. So I talked to her and decided to just tell her everything, and it didn't go like I expected. She told me she had a feeling I wasn't Jewish from the beginning, but never married me because I was Jewish, but she married me for me, regardless of my faith. She said that she was very sorry that I felt like I had to hide this from her for so many years, and that I don't have to pretend to be Jewish if I don't want to. But, like a lot of people commented, I do feel sort of culturally Jewish now. I definitely identify more as a member of the Jewish community than I do others. We're not going to pressure any of our kids into Judaism, and we're going to let them decide what they want to do for themselves. And my wife and I agreed that it would be for the best if we gave back, since all the opportunities afforded to me came from the Jewish community. We're going to get involved with an organization, and we're donating to 3 different scholarships for $5,000 each, and try and help fund birthright trips whenever we can. I'd like to thank everyone who's commented with advice, and hopefully this can be a new chapter in my life. Thank you for watching. This was Reddit Storytime. If you want more stories like these, make sure to check out our channel.